Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel today for another video. In this one today, we're going to go back and do something I haven't done in a little bit on the channel, and that is going to be make a tier list on tiermaker.com. In this one today, we're going to be going over some anime, and more specifically, we're going to be going over shonen anime, and we're going to be ranking them. Obviously, this is not every shonen anime ever by any means or anything like that. These are just a list of some popular ones that I have personally seen. As always with the tier list, it will start at S, go down. It should be like D, F, that sort of thing, but I didn't make this tier list. Originally it said butt cheeks and then literal shit here. I don't think there's any literal shit on here, so I removed that and just changed it to haven't seen because there are just a couple that I have not watched, but we'll go over all that in just a second. But like I do in every single one of my videos, I do just have to say, look, 95% of the people who watch my videos aren't even subscribed. I know, it's a crazy high number. I actually just hit 60 subscribers today. Thank you to you guys for that. That's a crazy number, but still, the number of people who watch my videos and who aren't subscribed is incredibly high. So look, maybe you watch my videos on your recommended page, but you just aren't subscribed yet. Scroll down, turn that red button gray, subscribe. It would really help me out, and I really appreciate it, guys. As well as if you want to go ahead and do this tier maker for yourself, it will be linked in the description down below. If you want to go through it and rank where you guys rank your animes, maybe even feel free to leave a comment down below if you think I place something too high, too low, etc. Everything is my opinion, however, so just be cool about it. No need to be anything crazy, but we'll talk about all of it as we go, and I'll give as much of detail as I feel is necessary when ranking. Now, as I said, there are a few on here that I haven't seen, so let's just get those out of the way first. I believe this, I don't even know what this show is. I can't tell from the picture. It's a little blurry, but I have not seen that, and Hajime no Ippo I've not seen either. However, I think pretty much everything else on here I have seen at least a little bit of. There are some shows I have not watched. Oh, nope, there is another one that's Reborn. However, now everything else, at the very least, if I have not seen everything from the series, I've seen enough to have an opinion about it. A couple episodes at least, or if not the whole show. So we're just gonna go through. I'm gonna give as honest as opinion as I can for most of these. So Attack on Titan, I've said it before in other videos. I think Attack on Titan's S tier. I think it's probably my favorite anime that I've ever seen. In fact, I plan to make a more lengthy video about that at some point in the future. It detailing like exactly why I think Attack on Titan's probably the best anime ever made. I will say I don't think it's the best manga or anything like that. I know people get really heated about Attack on Titan being good, but I think it's the best anime ever made, and I'll make a video about that in the future where it's more like a video essay type video. So if you're looking forward to that, go ahead and subscribe, because I'll make that at some point, probably more towards the end of the anime, but we'll see. Next up though, Black Clover. Black Clover is an up and down series for me. I think it has some really high points where it's like probably A or S tier, but then it also has some really low points where it's kind of like C or D / butt cheeks tier. I think overall though, I think it's pretty B. I don't think it's bad by any means, but I also just don't think it's great. I think there's a lot of things that hold back the anime from being great. I will say it's one of those series I personally like the manga a little bit more. I'd say the manga is probably A tier, but the anime is B tier. Again, not bad or anything by that means, but I just think it could be better for sure. Bleach, I think anime also B tier, maybe even lower. Do I rank it as good as Black Clover? Let me think. Probably. Again, Bleach suffers from a lot of problems Black Clover does too, and has even more problems actually, because it falls into that old school shonen trap where it had a bunch of fillers, a lot of stuff that you didn't really want to watch. However, I will say this, the Bleach anime, when it's good, is probably one of the better anime shonens out there. It's really good. The soundtrack for it is really amazing. The voice acting is really good. The overall story and action in the story, really good. The thing that drags it down to B tier is all the filler, all of the kind of weird stuff that happens with the plot more towards the end of the story, that kind of stuff. However, I also will say the 1000-Year Blood War arc is about to get its anime adaptation at some point this year, so I'm excited to see where I will rank this after that comes out. But for right now, I think it's just kind of B tier, pretty okay. Nothing really to write home about. Blue Exorcist, I think is C. I don't hate it as much as other people do, but it is very forgettable, not anything to write home about by any means. Significantly worse than Bleach and Black Clover in my opinion. Also, like the fact that they had to like rewrite the story in half of the anime to make it better because it wasn't the best it's not good. Let's be real, it's just not very good, but it's also not the worst shonen that I've ever watched by any means, so I think that's where I would personally rank it. Boruto is butt cheeks. Boruto is probably the worst shonen that I've ever watched. Now, some people are going to get very upset about that. Some people will also just straight up agree with that, but my reasoning here is because look, if Boruto was not associated with Naruto in any way, shape, or form, I actually think it's probably like B or C tier. It's probably just okay. Nothing to write home about, but also not like awful. Its issue is that it came after Naruto. Naruto already was amazing. It had no business having a sequel, especially one as bad as Boruto is for a sequel. It just takes everything from Naruto, says, yeah, all that power balance that we established, all the storyline stuff that we established, all of that, yeah, just throw that out the window. That doesn't matter anymore. And like I said, just if it wasn't Naruto, it'd be fine. Like if it was just its own standalone series, Boruto, where it's following Boruto throughout his journey, it's actually pretty okay. In fact, I think the manga for it is even pretty good at that point. But the fact that it came after Naruto, which was already so good, and then it was what it was and was as disappointing as it was, it's just bad because of that. Next up, Dragon Ball Super. I enjoyed Dragon Ball Super more than the average person. I actually think it's probably A tier. I think the fights in it at the very least were pretty good. A little, you know, it falls in the same trap all Dragon Ball does, where it kind of, you know, it's just every new arc turns into a new form of the Super Saiyan. You get what I mean. Everybody knows that. But at the same time, the fights were entertaining, very action-packed. I liked the soundtrack, the OST for Dragon Ball Super a lot, so I think it's up there. Dragon Ball Z probably ranks pretty equal with that. I used to watch Dragon Ball Z a lot as a kid. I enjoyed it quite a bit. It's one of those first anime that I watched that, again, got me into the series, or into the genre, I guess. So I can't hate on Dragon Ball Z by any means. Death Note, controversial one here. I will rank it at least above Dragon Ball, but I think it's only A tier. And I only say that because the first half of the show, S tier, not even a question. It would be one of the best anime of all times if it didn't have like the second half of the anime. I think the second half is just like mediocre at best. It probably should have just ended when that big thing happened. I won't spoil if I don't have to, but you kind of know what I'm talking about if you've seen the show. When that big thing happened, they probably should have just ended the show there and not continued it on, but I guess, you know, there's that. But I still think overall it's an A tier show. It's one of those shows that I recommend to people when they're first starting to watch anime. Like it's just a good show in general, but I just think it could have been even better. It could have been S tier, and it just wasn't. Full Metal Alchemist, S tier, or Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, I should say, is S tier for sure. I don't even think that's a question. I love Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I think it's like one of the most complete stories in Shonen. It doesn't have any point where it slows down or drops off. It just has consistently good storyline, plot. The anime's openings and soundtracks and all that kind of stuff are great. Voice acting, great. Storyline, great. There's really just nothing to complain about there. Fairy Tail, some people would rank butt cheeks, but I actually think it's probably C tier. Kind of like Blue Exorcist. It is very shonen trash, but like if you're sometimes that's just all you're looking for, and it'll get the job done. I'll tell you that much. Gintama, probably B tier. I think the fights are really good. The comedy's funny sometimes, annoying at other points. In general, probably a little bit too long for the average person. It's one of those shonen that like the people who like it can't stop saying how much they like it, but then like I feel like a lot of people just have never seen the show. So I don't know. I think it's pretty good though in general. I think it's just okay. I don't think it's anything to write home about. I don't think it's like one of the legendary ones that goes in S tier or anything like that, but it's okay. Haikyuu for me is S tier, but I know for a lot of people it isn't. For me, I mean I've made a whole video about Haikyuu and why I love it so much. If you're interested in watching that, you can click the card in the upper right if I remember to put it there. But I just really in general do love Haikyuu. I can't say enough about it, but like I said, if you're interested in wondering why, I do have a whole video about that. Hunter x Hunter as well is an S tier. Anime wise, who knows if we will ever see the ending of that show or manga. If we do, that might change the ranking, you know, because the story is currently ongoing, so maybe it'll end up being one of the best things I've ever read and watched, or maybe it'll be one of the worst. Who knows? But for the anime to where it ended all the way to the election arc right after the Chimera Ant arc, gotta say it's S tier just for the Chimera Ant arc alone. Like that thing can carry that show to S tier even if you didn't include any of the other amazing arcs in the show. So S tier for sure for Hunter x Hunter. And now JoJo's, people are not going to be too happy about this one. I think it's just B. JoJo's, now the reasoning, calm down before you freak out. The reasoning for that is because I have not watched all of the show. I've only watched just about the first 2 seasons. I haven't even technically finished the second season, but from what I've seen from the first 2 seasons, Sense, it was incredibly hard to get through, very slow, not that interesting. However, I do understand and I do know that it gets way, way, way better after the second season, ironically, which is where I kind of stopped. But third season onwards, I know it gets much, much better, and I will eventually watch it. I'm just lazy. It's another long-running shonen that I'm too lazy to watch. It happens to everybody. But let's be real here. The first and second season of JoJo's kind of boring. Not very good. It's not the worst shonen ever. Again, I would still rank it above all this stuff down here, but it's just okay. It's nothing to, that made me want to continue to watch it, obviously. However, I have been told, I do know, etc., etc. I eventually will get there, and when I do, it'll probably be up here instead of B. But for now, it's going to be B tier. My Hero Academia, I'd say A. It's hard because sometimes the fan base and the people who watch and read My Hero just make me want to place it in butt cheeks because how awful, awful, awful they are. But everybody knows that. It's a meme that My Hero is the worst community in the anime community for a reason. But let's be real, the show and the manga are pretty good. There's a good reason why it's so popular, why so many people love it. It's very good. It's not S tier. I don't think it is anything that crazy, at least not yet. Anime wise, especially. The manga, I think, is actually probably a little bit better if I'm gonna be real, but that's neither here nor there. At least for right now, I think it ranks A. Maybe with some future arcs, because like the most recent arc in the in the manga, really, really good, and when it eventually gets adapted into an anime form, I think that could possibly propel it up higher for me. But for right now, I think it's just A. It's pretty good, but it's not this good. Kuroko no Basket, I've said it before in other videos, my Haikyuu video to be specific, but I just don't think it's anything that crazy. I'd put it C tier. I think in general, it's kind of bad. It takes a lot of the things that I like about a lot of sports, anime, and manga, and kind of gets rid of that and puts in a lot of stuff I personally don't like. Now this one, I will say, I know a lot of people like it. I know in general the story, it's not that bad or anything. I think the story just by itself probably A or B tier, but in general, I think like it's hard for me to like and continually read and watch Kuroko no Basket like more times than once when there's like Haikyuu, because like I think Haikyuu is just the absolute better form of this in every single way, personally at least. Maybe you disagree, but that's what I think. The original Naruto, probably B tier for me. I watched it a lot as a kid. I've said it multiple times, it's the first anime I ever watched. The anime that got me into this whole thing, why I love anime so much, was because of Naruto. I was a Naruto kid. I always will be. I used to take a fan blade out of my standing fan and throw it around like a giant shuriken because of Sasuke in the anime. Like, that's how much I love Naruto, Like, I do. However, the first part of Naruto, just not Shippuden, just regular Naruto, it's pretty good, but like it has its really, really good fights. But I think it also has a lot of like not amazing moments in it personally. But then again, it is like the first part of the Naruto story, so you can't like hate on it. It's like it's the first half of the show. You can't like expect it to be as good as a lot of the other parts, is what I think at least. And I'm just gonna rank Shippuden now since I just did that one. But I'd say it's A. Look, I know, Naruto's got a lot of flaws. Do not get me wrong. But like I said, I'm biased. I'm a Naruto kid. I always loved it growing up. Of course I'm gonna put it A tier, right? I will say though, I know it's got its flaws. A lot of plot holes, a lot of weird inconsistencies, so much filler. Oh my god, don't get me started. Look, if you want to actually enjoy Naruto, just look up the Naruto like filler guide. It'll tell you what episodes to watch to skip all the filler, and you'll just get the actual Naruto storyline, and that actual storyline is pretty good. I love it. I think the universe is very detailed, very action-packed. I just love Naruto in general. Don't even get me started on the OST and openings, man. That's just next level. Anyways though, Seven Deadly Sins, personally I think it's just mediocre, maybe even kind of lower. No, probably lower, only for the anime though. The manga itself is probably a B tier. I think it's pretty good, the storyline and stuff, but the anime, especially because of how awful the second season was animation wise, I think it has to be a C. I know a lot of people like Seven Deadly Sins, but I don't know, I was never like that into it, and then how they got done dirty by the second season of the anime. I'm not even gonna lie, man, but I don't know. That's my personal opinion, at least. Now, Noragami is another one of those shows I've only seen a few episodes of. However, I'm gonna put it probably A tier. From what I've seen, it's very enjoyable. It has its cool comedy moments. It also has its great battles and that kind of stuff. Really cool plot, I think. One of my favorite anime openings of all times with Hey Kid, but that's neither here nor there. I'm planning also to make a like top 100 anime openings tier list, or like I guess just list, not tier list. So if you're you're interested in that, that's definitely one to get subscribed for, because that one's probably coming here within the next week or two. It's going to be a pretty big video. It's also going to take a lot of effort, so just keep an eye out for that one. I'm excited for that one. One Piece, probably B tier overall. The problem with One Piece is how long it is, and is the fact that a lot of the arcs have very, very, very slow points, and it's like when it's good, it is S tier. When One Piece is in like the final moments of every arc, it's probably S tier. The battles are great, the soundtracks are great, the transformations are great, you know, all that kind of stuff. But like in the beginning of each arc, it's incredibly slow and hard to get through. Not to mention, again, it's like 1,000 episodes long. It's hard to especially like recommend this anime. Like it's just hard. One Punch Man, probably B tier again. I know that one's probably gonna make people a little mad, but look, hear me out here. Season 1 of One Punch Man, probably A tier. I loved it. It was really good. Season 2, it kind of wasn't. Let's be real. It just kind of wasn't that great. It also wasn't awful. It wasn't like Seven Deadly Sins bad, I'll say that much, but like the animation definitely stepped down a lot. You know, I don't think the soundtrack was nearly as entertaining. The storyline wasn't nearly as good. It kind of got pretty one note pretty quick. So I think it kind of evens out to a B tier overall. Again, I want to reiterate here, that doesn't mean it's bad by any means. It's just not my favorite. Soul Eater is C tier for me. I don't know. I think this one is more shows like my own personal opinions the most, because I know it's really not that bad of a show, but like I find myself not enjoying it every single time I see it. I'm just like, I don't really remember enjoying that very much. Every time I see a clip or anything like that, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm weird like that. I feel like it's just not that great overall, personally. Promised Neverland, so it's hard because I have not seen the second season of the anime. The second season of the anime is airing right now, and I'm not caught up nearly at all. I haven't watched any episodes of the second season. So I'm gonna rank this as if the second season hasn't come out yet, because I have not seen it. So first season of Promised Neverland, I'm gonna keep it real, that's S tier. It's very good. Just the first season. I think I have read the manga all the way through completion. I'm gonna keep it real. The story drops off quite a bit after like the first, and probably where the second season ends is probably, I don't know exactly where the second season is going to end, but if I had to make a guess, I probably know where. And after that, it drops off quite a bit. Even just after the first season, it drops off quite a bit. However, that first season where they are escaping the house and stuff, I think that's probably the greatest mystery thriller show of anime that I've seen personally. I will say I have not seen a lot of them, but I think it's the best one that I personally have seen. It was the only one that I've ever seen that like I was actively the entire time watching the show just clenching my butt cheeks in absolute stress mode because of how like stressed out I was about the story, even though I knew what happened too. I had already read the manga at that point, and it still was making me do that because it was that good. And I will stand by that opinion that the first season is S tier. I will say I know what happens in the second season, and that I would, if I had to make a guess, again, haven't seen any episodes, but I'd probably rank that B tier, and then everything else that happens after that is probably C tier. So overall, the show probably evens out to like an A or B tier, but the first season is S tier, and I will not hear otherwise. And last show here is Yu Yu Hakusho. Yu Yu Hakusho, a lot of people like it more than me. They would put it S tier, one of their favorite shonens. I think it's really good, but it also has some points that I just don't like personally, like in the story. And I think that's maybe because I'm a little zoomer brained and it's an older show, so you know, things like that where there's just points where I think it gets a little bit slow and a little bit repetitive and not as entertaining as a lot of other shonens. However, that being stated, it's still really good. Like, there's a reason the author of Yu Yu Hakusho also has a show in S tier. It's because he's very good at writing shonen. Like, incredibly good. And Yu Yu Hakusho is incredibly good. Just period. It is. A lot of the fights are really good. The soundtrack is good. The storyline's good. A lot of really good points. There's just a lot of personal nitpicky things that I find in the show not as enjoyable as other people do. And that's, at the end of the day, what makes anime enjoyable is because we all can be as nitpicky and everything like that as we want, and then we get to make our own lists. And like I said, I would like to hear your guys' list. Maybe you think Haikyuu is like a B tier show. Let me know. I don't know your guys' opinions. Just let me know in the comments down below, but keep it nice and civil, at least, is all I ask, because I know the anime community can be a little bit toxic sometimes, especially certain select communities can be that way sometimes. So let's just be healthy and stuff like that. But that is going to be the end end of the video, guys. I hope you did enjoy. If you did like it, please go ahead and leave a like down below. If you are new around here, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications for when I post more videos just like this. It's free and you can always unsubscribe later. And I post new videos every single day, so you're bound to find one that you enjoy at some point in time. Either way though, guys, I thank you for watching. I appreciate you, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Peace.